Let's have a look at live demo. So I have on my left hand side RDBMS browser. If I click, I need to put the IP address and user ID and password. This only works with the SQL Server authentication mode database only. I click on the load data, so I can see a long list of databases. I'll be checking some audit log. So first of all, I'm checking audit log for a scheduler application. I have one hospital scheduler application. So there are some audit log, as you can see, like all the list of tables on my right hand side, and log is showing on the left hand side that audit log scheduler is successfully connected. And then in here database is showing, and then also it creates a connection string in the bottom. So I need to select a table that I want to export to HDFS. So I select this log main, and it is showing like this table has total 1384. So I have a chunk of 1000, so this will go like slightly more than 1000 records. Now I need to set up like where I want to export to. I click on the HDFS browser, so I put like IP address and port number and my user ID. Then if I click load data folders, it will load all the folders. So I want to create a new folder in here, so I'm creating a new folder. Is big data demo. Then I click create folder. It creates a big data demo. Currently there is no file there, so as there is no file, I just select that one and I close it. So it says created, this one, and this string will be used for sending this this table data to HDFS data. Let's run the query and see what happens. So this query is a log main table will be going, and it has like 1384 records. So my chunk will be two chunks. First chunk is first 1000, second chunk will take second 1000. That will be like cumulative of 2000 record, but we know like it will be on 13,400 records. So now if we by this time, when I was talking, by this time it's finished uploading these two records. We can go and check on our Hadoop file command line. So I can see on the Hadoop fs -ls -r, and I'll able to see my big data demo. That is the log main, that is the one which created. So I'm just copying that one, and then I can check like how many lines of data actually imported into the system. So you know it's like 13,000 something. Now I'm pasting this path, and then I can see there are 1385 records were imported. So if we see in our data, it was supposed to be 13,084, and in there is like 13,085, because one extra record is because I have sent like the column, the CSV column header as a column name from the table properties. So let's see like how we can also check this file in the cat if you want to see. Yeah, it is showing all the logs of. Now if you want to go back and do a Hive query, so I want to generate a Hive query. So basically my system already generates a Hive query, so I'm just running it. So first is creating the table, and the second one is loading data. So I'm just creating table. I created the table, and second one is I need to load data, and this query is automatically created. So now if I want to see whether the data I can see in the Hive or not, so I can type select all from log main and limit 100. Then this is a data query, and I'm running. I can see like all the data in here. So this was the data also on my site. I can import this data back into my relational database. In that case, I need to save this one log main, So I can save it, and then once I return back in my folder, I can see this log main Excel file is created, and here is the Excel file that returned back from the HDFS. So this is the way my HDFS data exchange works. In terms of usability, is very simple, but inside there are a lot of processes are running. So let's see, like on the HDFS browser what we can additionally do in here. For example, we can, like we just did a big data demo or big data, and we kept a file there. We can see the preview of that file, but it's actually limited preview, but you can see the length, which will show you like entire data set. We can delete this file if you want, like it's already deleted, and then we can even upload manually a file in the system. Here I am uploading a file, so I'm just putting a file like a test file, like test123. So this is the test upload file I did. So I can see the test file here. I can append this file. Let's, for example, create another file to append that one. So append file, and this is a new line to add to the new line. I'm saving it, and then I can go back, and this is the file already selected, so I can do the append of the file. So there is the append file I created, and then I can do a refresh where it was. So this is a new line was added here. So, but we can also download any file. Like for example, I might have a few files that I have downloaded already. This is one of the file I uploaded before. I can download this entire file, test.csv. Maybe I can give like test big data.csv, and it should be there on the test big data.csv, and I can see entire of my data in CSV. So this CSV data, then we can do manually import back to the system. So this is we can upload, download, and we can also delete file. You can delete folder. So this entire thing runs this way, and and then import back. So let me go through some of the code details so that I can explain like how my code is working. So this is my main form, and here's some object that I created. One is the HDFS browser. So HDFS browser is having like a config section where I have like the configuration data, where I create the root URL, and also is web HDFS client, and then I have some get operations. I do some get operations. I have some put operation where I can create new directories and everything. And I made one util, just this is a singleton of that thing, and then I made a util in here that statically access different portion of the thing, and every of those functions are running asynchronously, so that I don't actually, it's in the best effort, I'm not actually trying to do synchronous thing. Similarly, also in the SQL, the SQL helper, I created a SQL helper, and SQL helper also like creates the query, and some of the things are synchronous, some are not synchronous. Like for example, like to generate SQL query to the string, CSV string, I'm running it asynchronously, and the rest of the queries are very small query, those are like sequential. I have also data exporter. Basically that is the one which does most of the wonderful thing. So I needed to have a event because it's a cost thread event, so I have a one event handler. That event is fired from here, so that event actually rages in the log viewer screen. So in here, like I splitted the thing so that I take the first query, and if it is like our data is less than 1000, so my first query is creates content, and this has like it uploads the contents, and it is on the creation job. I do it like as with a column header. So this is my column header, and then if there is more than one query, I actually send those query, and I run in like different threads. I run a couple of threads and I process those queries. So each of those queries then call those process CSV data. Process CSV data is again asynchronously does the export CSV, whereby I actually amend the file. Earlier I was creating or uploading the file, and here I'm doing the amendment of file. That last one is the get number, and then Hive SQL. So in here, when I was doing like the CSV, I needed to do some conversion. So here I'm doing the conversion. Conversions are basically I'm getting SQL data in a different like decimal and double and many other thing, and also sometimes I get like some non like garbages that I needed to clean. So I'm doing all of those things in here, and also some cases I like the data type in the SQL and the Hive are not the same, so I use a conversion for the data type. In the data exporter, so data exporter I didn't implement. I implemented directly a class. So in here, like if I call this thing, I send all of those parameters I kept in the global variables, and then parameters eventually moves to my data exporter class, and that data exporter class does all the processing and returns back to here. I also want data importer, and that importer is a CSV back to the SQL, but it can be done. Even the SQL server can directly import it. We don't need to have a separate import tool. SQL Server import tool is much efficient. It does like DTC services. DTC services are much efficient than running a single queries. So I was not actually that much worried about that implementation. So that's all about my code. In this code, the biggest thing that was actually the hardest thing that I did is HDFS browser, because there is not enough .NET implementation. There are some HDN side implementation there, but I was unable to work with the Cloudera. And then I did like the SQL Server queries, and then those queries were like going into the multiple chunk, and I used like some row number, and there's no row number is a feature that you can get on the SQL 2008 and upward. They support this row number. So based on the row number, I ordered those things by getting an identity column, and then I slice that thing into multiple steps. So here are those steps, like for example record size, like record size is on the top, and then I multiply by the number of iterations, and then record size by 1, so that from the first record to the last record, that 1000 records will be chosen. So that's all from my presentation. Thank you very much.